The fork slipped from my hand and clattered against the porcelain plate. The sound sliced through the laughter around the dinner table like a gunshot. My husband's smile, usually easy, effortless, had frozen in place, his knuckles tightening around the stem of his wine glass. Everyone stared. I had just made a stupid joke. Throwaway comment, really? Guess my body count isn't that shocking anymore. I'd laughed when his brother teased us about our college years. But Daniel's eyes. God, his eyes. They said everything words couldn't. In that moment I felt my stomach twist, the warmth of the wine turning to ice. "Excuse me," he said softly. Too softly. The room went still. Even the hum of the air conditioner seemed to fade. I laughed. Awkward, forced, desperate to patch the hole I didn't yet understand I'd torn. "Relax, babe. I was joking." He didn't laugh. Neither did anyone else. Dinner resumed, but I could feel his silence pressing on me, heavy and cold. He smiled at his mother when she passed the bread, nodded at his brother's story about work, but never looked at me. Not once. When we got home he didn't speak. He hung his coat, loosened his tie, and walked into the kitchen. I followed, the quiet ringing in my ears. "Daniel," I said softly. He didn't turn around. Was it a joke? My throat tightened. Of course it was. You know it was. He set his hands on the counter, his back rigid. "Because the number you told me, that was the truth, right? Back when we started dating." The air shifted. I felt it, something fragile cracking under years of trust. "Daniel, why are we talking about this?" I tried to keep my tone even, but my voice trembled. "You're acting like. Because you said you'd been with 4 people before me," he cut in. "And tonight you laughed like it was a lie." I stared at his back. "It was a joke." He turned then. His eyes were red, his jaw tight. "Was it?" For a second I couldn't breathe. The truth sat heavy in my chest. I had told him 4. The real number was 6. It hadn't mattered then. It didn't change who I was, how I felt. But suddenly, in that kitchen under the harsh white light, it did. I looked away. "Daniel, come on. This is ridiculous." He stepped closer. "Why lie?" My voice cracked. "Because I didn't think it mattered. We were falling in love, and it was early, and you decided to edit your past?" His laugh was sharp. "You built our marriage on half-truths." The word stung. "That's not fair. Isn't it?" He moved to the table, sitting heavily, burying his face in his hands. I stood frozen, my heartbeat pounding against my ribs. It wasn't just the number, I realized. It was what it represented, how easily I'd omitted something, how easily I'd smiled through it. He spoke again, his voice low. "When I saw your face tonight, you weren't joking." I swallowed. "You're imagining things." "Am I?" He looked up. Who was he? The question landed like a blade. I wanted to deny it. I wanted to scream. But his eyes, they already knew. "It was years ago," I whispered. He nodded slowly, like the final piece of a puzzle had just locked into place. "When?" "Before the wedding." He flinched, a small involuntary movement that gutted me. I stepped forward, my hands trembling. "Daniel, please. It was one night. It meant nothing." "I thought." "You thought I'd never find out," he said quietly. Tears blurred my vision. "I thought it was buried. I thought we were stronger than that one mistake." He stood, the chair legs scraping loudly against the tile. "A mistake you joked about in front of my family." The room spun. "I didn't mean to hurt you." His voice cracked. "But you did." We stood in silence, the air between us suffocating. I wanted him to shout, to throw something, to cry, anything but this still, devastating calm. He finally spoke, his tone soft but final. "You've been asking why I stopped trusting easily. Why I keep things to myself." He took a deep breath. "This is why." I sank into the nearest chair, the weight of what I'd done pressing down until it hurt to breathe. I remembered that night. How I'd felt small, invisible, lost after a fight with Daniel. How I'd convinced myself that one lapse, one meaningless act, didn't erase everything good we had. I buried it, convinced it didn't define me. Until it did. He walked to the door, his hand on the knob. "I need space," he said without turning. I wanted to stop him. I wanted to beg. But guilt held my tongue. After he left, the silence in the house was unbearable. I could still hear the echo of my laughter from dinner, bright and hollow. I replayed it over and over, the way his expression changed, the way the air died. That single careless moment when everything I'd buried clawed its way to the surface. Days passed before he spoke to me again. When he did, his voice was steady, too calm. "I don't hate you," he said. "But I don't know who you are anymore." And that hurt more than anger ever could. I watched him pack his bag, moving slowly, methodically. I wanted to tell him everything, the guilt, the self-loathing, the nights I stayed awake beside him wishing I could undo it. But words felt useless now. Before he walked out, he paused at the door. "You always said honesty builds love," he murmured. "You just forgot to live by it." The door clicked shut, soft and final. I sat there, the wine glass from dinner still on the counter, half empty, the rim smudged with my lipstick. The smell of roasted garlic lingered in the air. The faint hum of the refrigerator was the only sound left. And I realized betrayal doesn't always explode. Sometimes it seeps quietly through the cracks you thought no one would notice, until it drowns everything you ever loved.